If you could just say your name and spell it for me, just to start with.
Yes, my name is Dennis Emmett, Emmett.
Okay. And we're talking about the sort of the lottery scams and that kind of thing. Could you talk about when you first got involved with those types of operations?
Well, I've been involved in maybe those types of operations since about 1972. I started out with a direct mail company specializing in computer software, and I've handled direct mail clients almost all my life. Lotteries, I've just got involved with lotteries probably around the 90s, early 90s. That's my first exposure to lotteries.
And in terms of lotteries, mailing out, what is that? When you mail something out, you tell people they've won the lottery, basically. You just sort of describe what the approach is.
No, the best way, like the best approach is you gotta come in with some type of an interesting thing that doesn't cost a whole lot of money. For instance, you mail a postcard to the people, which postcards are real cheap to mail, and you tell them that for 8 stamps, you're going to send them 8 letters that will include a check that they can use to play a different lottery with it. And if they don't want to put the stamps in, they can send cash or check or money order, whatever they want to send. And that's where you get the ball rolling with them.
Start out with something that doesn't cost very much.
Yeah, get their interest. You make them think they're going to get a check that they can, you can't cash the check, they can't use it for anything, but they can use that check as a supplement to the money that they're going to pay to play the lottery. And from there, you send them a check for whatever game you're going to do, say the El Gordo, which is a real big one because is a big, honest, legitimate lottery over in Spain every year. And you send them a check for, say, $18. They can be applied to a $38 fee to play the lottery. And, they can't do nothing with the check but use it to play the lottery.
So let's just take that example.
Mm-hmm.
You mail out a check it's really kind of a fake
It's
check.
a coupon.
It's a coupon.
Yeah, but you make it look like a check, a little more official. Gives a better look. Hey, I got something. That's the idea there.
And you say normally the fee to buy X number of lottery tickets would be $38, but because you have this $18 coupon,
yes,
you send in $20.
Yeah, and the reason you want to make it an even number like $20 is because that's real nice and easy for them to drop a $20 bill in. You get a little more cash that way.
People send cash?
Oh, yeah.
Who do you mail out to when you do that one?
Well, to begin with, you go out to a list broker, and you get names for people that have previously played lotteries, sweepstakes, contests, astrology, any of these type of things, and they usually work for you.
Why are those good?
Well, in the industry we call them mooches, mooch lists. People that are just kind of looking for something for nothing, looking for a good deal. Get rich quick. Edge, like they might even buy lottery numbers from you. Or, the astrology chart or numerology is a good one they like because they think these numbers are going to help them. You're going to give them the key numbers. Some people even sell lottery numbers to to play.
Hold on just a sec here.
Sorry, I'm going to go try and find the
Okay. Okay. Why do you think astrology lists are good?
Well, they're not one of the best ones. They're kind of scraping down to the least ones. They're people that believe in something mystical or good luck or occult, that type of a thing.
What are the best ones?
Oh, the best ones are people that have previously played something similar, a lottery before or a contest. Contest clubs they're similar to lotteries, but they're based on a game of skill, quote skill. Sweepstakes, let's see, lotteries, contests. Those are your best. And people that there's people that go for a lot of different things out there. There's different types of like even the people that have gone to a timeshare. Anybody that's fallen for a gimmick, really, they're put up for it.
Wait. No, wait. Okay, you got it? Okay, sorry.
Need a dolly.
We just thought we'd look over some of those.
Sure.
I didn't know there were that many, but...
Oh, no. This is just a discovery in the page. But I'm thinking I can find one of the solicitations in it somewhere.
That's
You're
my
just doing a
discovery.
little light reading while we're talking.
Search network and worldwide verification thing?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you'll find those. One of the things that is really helpful about you talking about this is that we represent AARP, lots of elderly people, and I've interviewed a lot of lottery fraud victims myself. And they're all, not all, but the vast majority of them are 70-year-olds, 75-year-olds. They tend to be women. We have a pretty clear idea of who a lot of them are. And what I wanted to ask you is, you buy these lists, you send out 100 letters. How many people respond?
Well, it really depends on how good your postcard is. That's what you really got to go for. The first postcard, you can expect up to maybe 10% to go on a postcard with a $3 offer.
They'd have to come up with $3 offer, or you?
Or the stamps.
Yeah.
That's your hook, your first one.
Explain that again, how that works. Take that example.
Okay, well, you offer them, the finances may have changed by now, but at the time you could get 8 stamps equal just about $3. So maybe it'd be 7 stamps now or 6. I don't know, to do the math real quick, but I don't think we need to do that. But you offer them that, so basically they think what they're doing is they're just giving you the postage for you to send them a check that they can use to play a lottery. And it seems like a pretty good deal to them. But, I'm not
They get
asking
this thing in the mail that says it's a $3 check that they can then buy $3
No,
worth
no,
of.
no, no. You tell them, I'm going to send you 8 different checks to play 8 different lotteries. And all I want you to do is send me 8 stamps so that I can mail them to you.
Okay. So then I do that. I send you literally the stamps themselves?
Yeah, most people do send stamps, but we'll take $3 if they would prefer to send $3.
So what are you doing there? You're just getting them
You're,
hooked?
you're qualifying your list. See, postcard is a pretty cheap item to mail. When you go out putting together a number 10 envelope, a number 9 envelope, your printed material, you're talking about a lot more money there. So what you're doing is you're qualifying your people. So you'll get about, say you get 10% of them back. Now those 10%, of those you'll get maybe 20% that'll actually start sending you money. Well, if you would have mailed the whole group before, it would cost you a whole lot more money to get to that fine group there.
So what you're basically doing in that first mailing is separating out people who do this from people who don't do it.
Correct.
Right. And then you're narrowing it down. So once you get those people who send in the stamps or whatever it is, the small amount,
Yeah.
of that may be 10%, of those you're saying 20% will, what's the
20%.
next thing you would send them?
Okay, well, next thing, it just depends on how your promotion is going, but you send them something that's pretty simple, with no upgrades or anything, like a fund, a lottery fund, where you can have them pay $20 more, and you're going to group them up with people. You put them in groups of 100 people, and then you join together to go into a fund to play a lottery, and wherever your odds of your lotteries look the best. For instance, Amsterdam or Australia or Canada, whatever foreign lottery looks the best. And you tell them you're going to pool them and put them into that category.
Do you tell them that it just increases your chances, or do you tell them, I mean, I've seen some where they just say, you've absolutely won.
Oh, no. You tell them, you're going to increase your chances. The way that the fund one works is because you tell them that you got more buying power by putting people together and grouping together. You can go out and group together and buy a block of tickets and give you a better chance to win. It's pretty much the concept of that.
Did you ever get to the point where, because these are out there, where they're just from Canada or someplace else, but they're just saying to thousands of people, you've won the lottery. Pay the $20 admin fee or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
But those are not the kind you did, huh?
No, I didn't do those kind. We made the people think they were playing. Like, for instance, after they played this lottery here that I'm talking about, we'd send them a check for somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $5, and we told them that was their share of the lottery winnings, and we'd then encourage them to play again, or to play another one, and just to take this check was a check they could use. They could cash this check. This was real money, and but of course, we'd already got $20 of the money, so we sent them back $4.
And then you ratchet them up.
And most people will take that check and just add some more money to it and play another lottery with you.
And so do you just keep ratcheting them up like that, or?
Oh yeah. Well, that's like one of them. Another one is, for instance, you can do like an El Gordo. You sell them tickets for the El Gordo. You can sell a full ticket, I don't remember now. I believe a full ticket was around $400. Or you could buy a half a ticket, a quarter of a ticket, a 16th of a ticket. We went down to a 32nd of a ticket, if I'm not mistaken. And then they'll play that, and from there, then you go in and you start pitching them to upgrade their ticket. And you keep getting them to upgrade, buy more. And once somebody sends you money, it's hard to get us to stop mailing to you.
That's another question I wanted to ask you, because our experience too is they mail it, once you mail in that first whatever it is, then you're getting 10, 15 pieces of mail a day sometimes.
Well, that happens with people that are selling your names to other people.
Okay.
Yeah, we would never mail anybody. We'd always wait 10 days between all mailings to people.
Yeah. But you'd mail them forever, right?
Mail them till they quit sending you money.
You would.
Yes.
And what in reality were you doing with the money? There was no real playing of the lottery, right?
No.
Okay.
No, we just use the money to promote and to promote it more, put it back in, promote it more, and living.
So Dennis, this is a really important part, and I think John mentioned this to you, but the main thing, I sit in these rooms with these 70-year-old participants of lottery, and I cannot convince them that they're not playing the lottery. I cannot convince them it's a scam. Look at all these seals. Look at all the official. I cannot convince them.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you're willing to say, so you just did say, but if we could get you to say it again, I would make these offers and tell people they were playing lottery, and they weren't.
Oh yeah, we would tell people they're playing lotteries, and they weren't. We were just giving them back a little bit of their money to get them to come and play some more. We'd make up people, put pictures of people, and this is so and so and so and so, and he just won $250,000 playing the El Gordo lottery. Just make up stuff.
So when
it's
you
called
would
mail fraud.
So when you would mail something to, I know this seems like, of course this is what happened, but it's really important that we have, you say this again, you would put pictures of people on these mailers.
Sure.
And I'm hoping I can get you to, because they're not going to hear me asking this. You'd put pictures of people on these mailers who didn't really win.
Absolutely.
Could I get you to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, we would take pictures of. Tell you the truth, I don't even know where the pictures came from. That wasn't the part that I really worked on. But we'd take pictures of who knows who, and we'd put them in there and say, this is Edith Smith, who just won $385,000 playing the Euro Pro with us, and give a little testimonial. I think you guys are just great. Something like that, and it's just all made up, right out of our imaginations.
And did it work?
Oh yeah.
Did you find that it worked better to have the mailers with the winners?
Well, I really didn't do a whole lot in the way of the promotions, designing the promotions and those kind of things. I understood how they worked and all, but I'm sure they tested it somewhere along the line and decided that's what worked best, because that's why they used it that way.
How reliable are the numbers about response rate that you were describing, where I realize it depends on what the pitch is, but let's just take the initial contact. You buy a lead or whatever, and you send out 1,000 pieces of mail. Is 10%, is that a real number, you think?
No,
That seems pretty high.
we were getting 10% in the early days with that particular postcard that I defined to you. But right before I basically closed up shop, we were running down around a 5 or 6%.
Yeah. Can we look at that?
Maybe you want to show that to him.
Okay.
And see if that's what he's talking about.
Can I take this out of the?
Yeah, just put it back where you got it from.
I realize it's like a big U.S. attorney document, so. You recognize that?
Yeah, I recognize this. It's not something I did, but I know who did this one. Yeah, Miss Daisy Goocock. I remember that one a lot. I remember seeing that picture. She's yeah, this is it.
So what? Can you just describe that a little bit?
This one, to tell you the truth, this is somebody else. I know who this is. I believe what this was supposed to have been is a pension fund, where I believe they hooked him into playing maybe 3 of these things every month to qualify for some pension that they were supposed to give away. And they would send out little certificates, I believe, or something, tell them how big their pension was going to be. If they didn't play these 3 games, I believe this was the fun type game that I just defined. And to stay an active member into this thing, they had to play like 3 of them a month, which ran them about $100. And I'll tell you, nobody ever got a pension out of it.
One of the things that our folks say when I'm having this conversation, or you know what, another common thing is like a 50-year-old daughter or son, parent will be chronically doing this, and they can't talk them out of it.
Correct.
So we want you to help us help them talk them out of it. How hard is it for you to develop the mailers that have pictures of winners and all that? I mean, is it really expensive to create these things?
Well, it used to be more expensive than it is. I mean, these days with the technology you got with the computers and everything, it's simple. You can even take somebody's face and steal it from anywhere and just modify it to where it doesn't really look like him anymore. It's easy.
Here's another question
a
that
kid could do it. A teenager could do it at home with his computer these days. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're not really able to move much.
Not much.
Another question I have is with computer. Could you talk another thing that they say is, well, somebody sat down at a typewriter and typed this letter out and said, Mrs. Jones, you've won this. Mrs. Jones, my name is in it. Therefore, they must know me. Can you talk a little bit about, I mean, you and I both know that computers can easily do that, put the name in it. But from the perspective of somebody who was involved in it, could you talk about how easy it is to customize a letter?
Well, this is what people used to come to me for in the earlier days back in the 70s and 80s, because I had mainframes that I worked with, and that was like in those days people didn't have PCs, they didn't even know what they were. But now you got programs, Word and all these document processing programs. You just take a stack of names that you've got on your computer, and you take the document and you just tell it where to place the name, and it just drops the name right in the middle of the letter wherever you want it. Pull your address out, your zip code, anything they want that they have on you.
So you could take one letter and customize it to 1,000 different people in a very short amount of time.
Oh yeah, sure.
Could you say that?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah, you can have your stack of names that you want to mail to. Say you got 5,000 or 10,000 of them, and you take your letter and you draft it how you want it, and you just put a 1 in this spot with a parentheses or something around it, a 2 in this spot, and a 3 in this spot, and you tell it to put the name in the 1 spot, the address in the 2 spot, and the zip code in the 3 spot. If you got their birthday, you can even tailor it right down to the birthdays, which is used a lot in astrology type things, because then they can tell them, oh, you are a Pisces, and they can. It's real easy to personalize a letter to fit a person exactly.
Did you do that?
Yes.
And is that more effective than not personalizing a letter?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's, like I said, that's where I came from. That was my days. Is people would come to me to do this for them.
Could you describe how much more effective it is? In other words,
oh, tremendously. It's very much more effective.
How much more effective? Like, if I don't want to put words in your mouth if this is not true. Don't say
probably
it.
Twice as effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say that the ability to customize a letter is twice as effective.
Yes, it will double your response.
I have the Global Search Network.
Okay. Let me see.
I have the nice color.
You want to just look this over for a sec?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is the fund pitch that I was telling you about. Where you're going to put everybody into a fund. It tells them why they should do it, why it's better. And here's some of your authorized European Lottery League America funds subsidize this check. There's no authorized European Lottery League fund. Well, this is an old one. This is the 2001 Eurolotter. Association of Digest Survey Report. There's no Digest Survey anywhere. It's all made up.
Here's the check. We want to look copies of this. This says this is an $18 check, the European Government Lottery Commission Trust.
Yeah, that's the check I was talking to you exactly before. That's it.
Is there any such thing as the European Government Lottery Commission Trust?
Only in somebody's imagination.
Did you make that up?
No, I didn't, but, that was my mailing.
That was your mailing. So do you hire creative people to make these up?
Well, you want me to tell you how I ended up doing it myself?
Yeah.
As I was working with some people before that were doing this type of stuff. I was generating their leads for them. That was my function, is to generate the leads, mail out the postcards, and handle it through the first two promotions. And needing to go through the first two promotions because I would take, like once you rent a name from somebody, you rent 1,000 names from somebody, and you mail them. If somebody sends you back the $3, now those are your names to do what you want with. You can turn around and rent those out to somebody else. So those would be my good lists that I would put back out. But I didn't want to put back out anybody that sent us money. So I'd mail two promotions to them, and I'd pick out the people that sent us money. And those were ours. And the rest of them I'd put back out and rent to other people. So you can't rent lists from people unless you rent lists back to them. It's kind of a trade game. They don't let you in the club unless you've got something to offer.
Who are the people who respond to this in your experience? Maybe you don't know, but can you tell that are they older people, younger people?
Okay, well this seems to be the whole point of everything is it is mostly older people. Your profile is 50 years old and over. It used to be the reason it was like that is because they were mostly your shut-ins, people that didn't go out, they stayed at home, and that's why they didn't have much to do. Oh boy, I got some mail, and it says I can win some money. And they open it up, and they don't got nothing to do. They'll read it, and they'll believe what they read, and they go for it. But lately, what's happening, is people just don't use the mail anymore. I understand the post office is getting ready to close down about 1,000 post offices. That's because it's not being used anymore. It's all going to the emails. So the only people left that are still using the regular mail system are basically old people. I don't think anybody under 50 uses regular mail anymore.
And yet, your understanding is, maybe you haven't been in this game for a long time, but there's still a lot of this going on, right? There's still mailings going out.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna kill itself. It's gonna die off on its own eventually, but it's not that soon, I'm sure.
Why do people go for it? Is it just something for nothing?
Something for nothing. Yeah, a good deal. Plus some of them they like to play. It gives them something to do, like the old contest. This was a thing before. I worked with a lot of contest clubs before the lottery. People just enjoyed the competition. They would get in and try and work these puzzles and play them and, occupy them for a while. And then they always had that hope of winning.
Did you move away from participation, or is participation important? Participation meaning you've got to do something to send it in versus just sending in a $3 check.
No, it depends. Like I say, there's a different thing. The contest people, you go out and you rent a name of somebody that's played a contest from somebody else. They'll usually play a lottery, but lottery people, they're just in for the gamble. They're just, the same people that play bingo. There you go. They go to the, you go to your bingo parlors. They're mostly older people.
One of the things that these folks say to me is, look, it was harmless. I just send in $10. I send in $15. I try and tell them it's not harmless because once you send that $10 in, now you're on lists. Sometimes those lists get into the hands of really bad guys, and then they're calling you for $5,000 at Western Union. Could you talk a little bit about how doing it even once can mark you as a target?
Well, you should just kind of clarify that, like your first cigarette, your first marijuana joint, your first snort of cocaine. It's harmless. But, the next thing you know, you're in there. But basically, really, say you just send us $3 once, and you don't play nothing with us. You won't, we've obligated to send you 8 checks, or 8 of these dummy checks to play contests or play another lottery. But if you don't play the lotteries, we won't send you nothing else. We're done with you. But we're going to rent your name to everybody else. So if we don't get you, somebody else probably will, because somebody else had got you before. If you just keep dying out, you're going to fall out of the system. But it takes a while for you to fall out of the system. People will go back a lot of times when they're kind of desperate. We got a mailing, we got some extra material. We'll go back and retest some names that haven't been good. We'll go back and test people that were good at one time, but say they haven't played for a year. And we'll go back and test them again once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Will you ever mail to people more than once? Like if they don't respond to the first mailing, do you only send a second mailing out to people who respond?
Oh no. Like with this postcard mailing that I was telling you about, you've obligated yourself to send them 8, and you will send them. Well, to tell you the truth, we didn't necessarily send them 8, but we'd send them 5 or 6 before we give up on them.
Hmm.
But if once you've played and you've showed yourself, we'll chase you for a lot longer than that.
So it's not a benign thing to just say, oh, it's $5 because of this other reason that it puts a target on your back.
Oh yeah, yeah. People keep asking for more all the time. They'll keep coming after you.
Yeah. How do the really bad guys get these names? Is it just because of the lead list business and the selling of names? The really bad guys who are calling and saying, "Go down to Western Union for the £5."
Well, those are people like would rent my list. Some of them, and what they'll do is they'll have phone numbers attached. Sometimes you can send them to different data processing companies out there. Some of them in Chicago, I think. And for so much a thousand, they'll take and add phone numbers for you that you can call it. I mean, you can call them up.
Would you sell or rent your list to anybody if provided they're willing to pay?
No, especially not if it's a list of people that I'm currently using. Anybody that I'm currently using that's sending me money, I won't rent them to nobody. Not until they quit sending me money. That's like eating your trying to think of what they call it, eating your seed corn or something.
Yeah, but I mean, once you're done with them,
Yeah.
or then
Then everybody gets them. I just put them out for general list rental. I put them back with the same person that handled getting me names. I list them back with them. And then other people, some people that maybe have rented names to me will end up getting their names back when they rent them for me again.
the other piece of the lead thing, I don't quite. You were describing it, but I'm not sure I was listening carefully enough.
The
Is
lead?
well, you send these things out. People respond. When they respond to you, does that make it your lead or no?
Oh, okay.
That's the part I wasn't listening.
Okay, well, when you go and get names from these companies, list broker company, you rent them, and you pay. It used to be like $85 1,000 to rent the names. Those aren't your names. You're only allowed to mail those once. But if somebody sends you anything, like that's why a lot of people they don't want to give it to somebody with a $1 offer or a $3 offer, because that creams the list. People are more likely to send to you. Once they send you anything, one stamp, $1, that's your name. You can now do anything you want with it.
Okay.
You can re-rent it, you can resell it, you can use it forever.
So let's say X number of people send you the $3. Those are your names. You mail them all you want.
Sure.
What do you then try and rent your list, which is now your list, to somebody else?
Only the people that don't play. See, because when you first rent a list and you get maybe like 10% would be high, but let's use that as a good number. So you rent 10,000 names, and you get 1,000 people that send back to you 10% of it. Now out of that, you will get maybe 20% that'll start playing with you, 200. Those other 800, they just go back out.
Yeah.
They go back out the door.
They go back out, and you don't really care who you rent them to.
Absolutely.
Anybody who's willing to lease those, rent those, you'll rent to them.
Correct.
Even if the guy is like some mafia guy in Montreal or something, it doesn't matter.
Well,
You don't have a criteria for saying, oh, I don't want to send that list out because that might be a bad guy.
No, not like that. But how it does work is when somebody wants to rent your list, you put it with a company, and when somebody wants to rent it, they will send you a copy of what this person's going to mail and ask you for approval on it. But that's only for the first mailing. He can show you anything he wants, and once he gets somebody to respond to that mailing, now it's his name. He can
Yeah.
do whatever he wants with it.
Did you ever refuse to sell a
No,
list?
I never refuse to sell a list.
So that just basically is like, it further explains the danger of playing at all. It's that now your name is out there as an active player, and oh my God, they're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, this explains it.
Well, getting started is, the tough part. They got to come from somewhere. The list rental thing is only when somebody's played with you. They do some, like when I first got involved with lotteries, they were doing advertising in the International Time and International Newsweek. They were taking advertising for lotteries there, and that's where a lot of people get started. And a lot of people, like I say, they don't start with the lotteries; they start somewhere else. You go and get them from another list.
Could you describe who does these types of lottery scams? I mean, there's you, and you've come forward, and I appreciate it. But are these upstanding businessmen trying to make could you describe who does it? And I'm talking about the scams, not direct mail that's quasi-legitimate, but the out-and-out scams like yours were. Who are these people?
Well, they're people that have probably been in trouble before. They know the game. They're willing to take the chance. Usually don't live in this country. Live in another country. Canada has a lot of them, I believe.
Are there any legitimate businesses that do lottery scams? Well, I guess that's kind of self. That's not what I mean. It's like what I'm
Anything
trying to
legitimate out
get
there?
at. No, what I'm trying to get at, Dennis, is again, people say, I don't know what you're talking about. Look at how legitimate this looks. There's these official seals, and you know.
To my knowledge, no. If you know, the only legitimate way, there's people that are operating out of Amsterdam that I don't know well. I don't know anybody that's actually worked with them. There's a chance they might be doing halfway legitimate. They might actually be buying some tickets, but I'm sure they're skimming somewhere. They're not giving everybody their chance.
How hard is it to make a mailing look legitimate with official seals?
Well, it's not hard at all. It's real easy to make your mailing look real legitimate.
Especially with modern computer technology and
Oh
everything.
yeah. It's made it a lot easier. Like I said, that's part of how I ended up doing this. Is I used to cater to people that didn't have the ability to handle the mailings and do that stuff for themselves. And with the PCs, it pretty much put me out of business, and that's how I ended up falling into doing this myself.
I see. Can a lot of money be made doing this kind of work?
Yeah. Most people will start out small. You can start out with a small investment, and then just keep rolling your money back in. Don't take nothing out until you build it pretty big. You can make millions of dollars.
The typical person who responds to the lottery scam mailing, how long will they keep sending in checks on average?
Oh, yeah. Like for instance, if you got somebody playing a lottery that you can upgrade in, they might continue upgrading. Before that one lottery closes down, you might get them to upgrade 5 or 6 times, and then they'll play another lottery again afterwards. I'd say you kind of go in a lifespan. I'd say typically you keep them for about 6 months to a year is your typical lifespan of a good lottery player.
And in the example you might be thinking of, how much money would that take in for that one person?
Well, that all depends on the person. Some people will play, 6 months or a year, through their lifespan with you, and maybe only spend a couple $100. Some of them will spend thousands of dollars.
Well, I don't get that. I mean, you're the one who's telling them how much they have to invest. What causes the variation?
Okay, because like for instance, this is a cheap lottery, that fund that we were talking about. That's only, even after they put their $20 in, it costs them $38 again to play. If they went for this pension plan thing, they're playing 3 of them a month. I'm pretty sure it was 3 a month. I could be less than that, but that's only $100. And for instance, people will play like they'll take a 32nd of a ticket for an El Gordo ticket, and they won't upgrade. They'll just stick with their 32nd of a ticket. So if they win, they're only going to get this little piece of the big pie. When other people say, whoa, I want that whole thing, and they'll upgrade and buy a whole ticket.
So the pitch with the El Gordo is like you could buy 1/32 of a ticket,
Sure.
or the whole ticket. How much is the whole ticket?
I think it was about $400, if I'm not mistaken.
I see.
Could have been 6. I think it was 4, though. That's the way I think I remember it. And some people will buy that $400 ticket right off the bat. Then you go back and you try and sell them more tickets. You just, like when El Gordo is, the drawing on it, I believe, is the third Saturday of December, right before Christmas. And when, you start coming down, like right after Thanksgiving, you mail everybody everything you got. This thing's getting ready to happen. You better get in here. We got a special deal. We got some tickets that came back from another broker, and we got a special deal on them. We can give you for 10 or 15% off, or 20% off. So you'll discount them towards the end, just to get more people to send you more money.
So again, the average person that you dealt with, how much money would you get out of them before they stopped?
If I had to say an average,
Yeah,
I'd guess $500 or $600.
$500 or $600. Were there many people who would just do it once and then stop?
Yeah, there were.
There were.
Yeah, there were.
What percentage would you say of that first, whatever the percentage is?
Okay, so you get somebody to send you another $20 check to play a fund. I'd say maybe you might get, you'd probably get maybe 25% that just never do anything again.
But 75% would?
Oh yeah, they keep playing.
What we're trying to get is this distinction between a one-off, we call them one-off victim. I did it once, I didn't win,
Yeah,
I'm not doing it again, versus the repeat. And it sounds to me like 75% are repeat.
Oh, yes, yes, 75, 80% are repeats, I believe.
So here would be the great statement to say, in your words. When I do these mailings, 75% of the people who play more than once.
Oh, yeah, when you mail in lotteries to people, you'll get 75, 80% of the people that will continue playing with you. Maybe only 20, 25% drop out.
Why do you think they keep doing it?
It's an addiction, you know, just like your state lotteries are an addiction, but these people typically aren't out that much, I guess, to go to the lottery tickets. They feel like they're, a lot of them are people that nobody mails to, that people kind of forgot about them, and they feel like there's somebody out there that they're dealing with, and it's like correspondence, and makes them just feel like they belong somewhere, I think.
So it's almost company, like the mailman comes and this thing is in the mail. And,
Yeah,
yeah?
I think so.
What was I going to say? We did this study of people who play the lottery, and 80% of them, we sent geriatric social workers into their homes and had them do mental status evaluations of them.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of them were found to have dementia or cognitive impairment. These are people who play the lottery.
Yes.
Does that surprise you?
No, I know they're out there. Yeah, you can see people. Their writing is just almost, not legible. You can't hardly read what they're writing when they write notes to you and stuff. I don't think that's the majority, though. I'd say you do got maybe 10% of people that they don't got a clue what's going on.
And how can you notice those people? Do they send more money, less money? Do they do it more frequently, less frequently?
As getting down and picking them out on an individual level, I really wouldn't know how you would know it. It's basically the people that correspond with you. You can tell by their writing. A lot of people write, they'll ask questions. What's my status in this contest? I just don't remember my status in this lottery. I don't know how many tickets I bought. Can you tell me? And you can see by their writings, all crooked, hard to read. Those are people that I figure are pretty out there, especially when they don't know what they played. They want to know what they got.
Would you ever, I think I know the answer to this question, but when you would identify people like that, would you just say, okay, I'm not going to mail them because they're obviously out of their mind?
No.
So
that didn't disqualify you. If we thought you were a little slow or not on the ball, no, that did not disqualify you from being promoted to.
So if you clearly knew that this person had cognitive impairment or even Alzheimer's or something, you wouldn't stop mailing to them?
No.
Would you increase the mailing to them?
No.
It would just be like any other customer?
They just stayed the same.
No preferential treatment either way?
No.
Jeez. In terms of reloading these people, the 75% that are repeat victims, would it be important to continually have new things coming in, new contests?
Oh,
I want
yes.
to talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, for instance, to begin with, I tell you they're going to get 8 checks. Well, there's a lot of lotteries running. You'll have the fund, you'll have an El Gordo, you'll have a thing called a Euro Pro. Those are basically the ones I did, but then they've got this horse race game they had, a Capital 21. They're always coming up with something new. Or you recycle them. Like we do El Gordos every Christmas, and we're doing a European Pro thing once a year. It would end in June, so you're cycled out 6 months and 6 months.
Would you have a sense, though, that okay, I've got this person on the hook, and I'm going to try and keep them for 6 months. Month 1, we do the El Gordo. Month 2, is there a plan like that?
Well, it kind of works out that way, but it's not a plan. It changes. Like the closer you get to the Christmas time is the time you want to mail the El Gordo more because it's closer. Nobody wants to play a lottery for December and January or February. That's why we had the Euro Pro. There was another lottery type thing that ran, and it closed down at the end of January or end of June, so that you had the Euro Pro that you pushed mostly in the first 6 months, and the El Gordo you pushed mostly in the next 6 months.
In terms of mailing these things out, it's not important to me to get into too much of the mechanics of it, but did you have a storefront, or did you have a P.O. box that you mailed from, or?
No,
where did they send the money to?
Okay, well, I'll start at the beginning there. You know, we used like a letter shop, you know, a place that just specializes in it. They got, you know, lots of printers, lots of inserting machines, and they'd put out the mailings for you. And in our case, the money went back to Amsterdam to you know to get it out of the United States. And from there, the checks would then come back to here to be deposited into the banks.
But I mean, would the victim mail the check to Amsterdam?
Yes.
They would.
Yes.
What's the ostensible explanation for that?
Well, for us, the reason was to get it out of the United States. You know, because
I know, but I mean, like,
what did you
wouldn't they
tell
think
them?
it's odd that they're sending money overseas?
No,
like
because you know they knew they were playing foreign lotteries.
Oh.
See, that's part of your promotion is you're playing a foreign lottery, and you know we would badmouth the U.S. lotteries. You know, well, you know they take half of your money in taxes right away. They spread you out over 20 years and give you payments. So if you win a $1 million lottery, you're only going to get a $500,000 to begin with, and then they're going to stretch you out over 20 years. So you're only going to get $25,000 a year, which comes down to about $2,000 a month. Now you win our lottery, you get it all right there.
And how does this conversation take place? Is this in the letter?
Oh, just in the letter. Yeah, usually it's an insert. You know, it's not part of the letter, but it'll be like another insert that you drop in, another piece like that. It used to be a piece basically that said something like that. Why play a foreign lottery as opposed to playing a United States lottery?
What is the most effective presentation you can think of? Like, it seems like, okay, so there's these mail houses that mechanically do the mailing outs and stuff. But, I mean, you must have had a sense for which of these letters worked the best, right?
Okay, well, the fund usually worked the best the first time out because it was a low dollar figure, just a $20, real easy. Drop in $20, let's see how it works. That's your best first pitch to do.
The fund meaning we're going to pool a bunch of lottery
Yeah,
tickets.
because it's simple. It's not complicated. Just send us $20. We're going to take care of everything. When you get into the others, you got to decide how big of a ticket do I want to buy, and you know, they got to think a little bit more.
How much did you push what they would win in the mailing?
Oh, we'd always said, you know, you're capable of winning millions of dollars. The El Gordo was always the biggest one because, you know, you're actually playing off of the real El Gordo. The real El Gordo is over $1 billion a year when they run it. So, you know, you use that figure. I think the last time I actually had an El Gordo, it was running about 1.2 billion that you would advertise. You know, get your share of $1.2 billion. You know, El Gordo's going to have $1.2 billion. You know, lottery expected this year in payouts, and you know, you need to get in. You know, you need to get in here and get your share of this.
Did you ever know any people who were, and I'm not talking about you now, but just people who are in this business? Did you never know any people who were also drug dealers or bad guys? What I'm trying to get at is, and if it's not true, don't say it, but I'm trying to paint a picture of the people who are behind this. I mean, you're a sort of friendly looking guy. I mean, you're admittedly in jail, but you know, that these are bad guys doing this. I want to, if it's true. If it's not true, don't say it, but you know.
Well, I don't know anybody that's is drug dealing and mafia type people that's involved in this. They got bigger and better things to do. This is just illegitimate businessmen.
Yeah.
Most of them have started out somewhere in this type of business and slowly worked their way up to being an operator in it.
And since it generates a lot of money,
Yeah.
Without having to produce anything.
Correct. Yeah. You know, you're doing selling paper.
All you're doing is selling paper. So are there any of these that you're aware of where they're actually buying lottery tickets and pooling them, and if you win, they'll pay you back?
I'm not aware of any.
So basically, is it fair to say that the vast majority, if not all of these mailings that say you can play foreign lotteries are total scams?
I would say that almost all of the lotteries you see in the direct mailer scams. Yes.
And spoken as someone who did it himself.
Yes. I'm responsible for mailing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Can I throw
Yeah.
a question out?
Yeah.
How do you think your lottery differs from, say, American Family Publishers, or you know, some of these that are supposedly legitimate? What's the one that Emmett was on?
Publishers Clearinghouse.
You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
some of these. What do you think of those?
Well, those are sweepstakes. They're not lotteries. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are sweepstakes. American Family Publishing and Publishers Clearinghouse, those are sweepstakes. And they're trying to promote you to buy their magazines. And They run a sweepstakes where they give away, I don't know, so much money or a house. Remember seeing it at a house. And those guys are pretty well regulated. They're not scam people. You don't even have to buy a product to play their sweepstakes. And they do give away what they say they're going to give away, but they mail millions and millions and millions of people and sell them lots of magazines, and they give away one house worth of $500,000 or something, $250,000. But
have you looked at their solicitations and do you think they're misleading?
oh yeah, they're misleading. Like they'll show a house that's about a $3 million house, and you're going to get a house that costs about $200,000 or something. It's not, the picture you see is not descriptive of the house that they're going to get.
Well, this is what is so frustrating to me, and I'm glad you raised it, because it's the quasi-legitimate version of this, or for that matter, state governments sponsoring state lotteries. I mean, I'm sort of asking you your opinion about this, but I've always felt that that's what legitimizes the out-and-out frauds, because there's enough of it being done that's sort of quasi-legitimate. Ed McMahon, Ed McMahon was on the Tonight Show. I mean, then they actually give away a house.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. So this isn't that different.
No.
You know what I mean? You're just the shading of it, except that it is different because it's a total fraud.
Yeah, like, you got, like I say, three categories really in this: lotteries, the contest promotions, and the sweepstakes. They're pretty much all characterized the same. But of course, the sweepstakes, they do deliver. And the contest clubs, most of those people do pay their prizes.
The contest clubs are also trying to get people to sign up for buying clubs or magazines or.
They're a game of skill. They'll give you for instance, a contest club. You'll get a postcard that's got a little box with 9 numbers in it, 1, 5, 7, and you're supposed to draw a line, like a tic-tac-toe board, across the ones where the number adds up to the biggest number that you can get. And they tell you at that point that you're going to be in for like a $10,000 prize if you win. But you're going to have that's the first part of a 10-part contest. And every time you play a part, it gets harder to play and more difficult. And you got to send a fee each time too. And at the end, they will give maybe two or three tiebreakers to people that are tied till they eliminate it down to one winner or just a couple.
Dennis, you must undoubtedly know these guys who they just don't beat around the bush. They're like, you've won $5 million, and I'm going to mail you the check, and you just need to send me the $20 processing fee. Why didn't you? You didn't do that exactly. Yours were sort of more subtle, and there was some paperwork to fill out. Why didn't you do that? Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be, just purely from the standpoint of having money come in, wouldn't it be better to just say, dude, you won the $5 million, send me $20?
No, because that brings a lot of people. You've told the people they won, and they somewhat expect something. You can't just disappear on them. They're going to go to the attorney generals, the postal inspectors. They're going to bring attention to you. You can't operate very long doing that.
Okay, so it's too blatant.
Too blatant.
And you can't do it as long, you think.
Yeah, me and the people that I worked with doing this type of thing before are the only people that actually sent people cashable checks. They actually got a check, maybe it was only $5, but they deposited in their bank and it was good. They got their money.
Oh, it fell down.
You hear it, but it's not.
That is. Are you rolling? Did those people stay in longer, the people that you actually sent a check to, than people you didn't send a check to?
Well, everybody got a check. That was part of our promotion. You played, you got a check.
Okay. But compared to promotions where you didn't send a check?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. This idea of sending people a real check that they can really cash, even though it's not much, gives them a real feeling of stability, of something really, some real foundation there.
And the sense that you're legitimate because you
Yeah.
actually sent them something, even if it's a tiny amount.
Right.
Yeah.
Very few checks went over $10.
And were the checks really from lottery winnings?
No. There was never.
Why did you send them then? I want you to talk.
To entice them to continue playing. To add legitimacy to the fake lottery.
Yeah. did any relative of one of these people who sent in money ever write to you and say, my elderly mother is got Alzheimer's, please stop sending her mail?
Okay, here's one way that you can get off of our mailing list. Have one of your relatives, a daughter or a son, get a hold of your checkbook, see that you're sending money to us, and write to us, and you know, tell us to take your parents off of our mailing list. They come right off the mailing list. Or you go to an attorney general and complain. We get an attorney general letter. We send them their money back, whatever they want. Send a copy to the attorney general that we satisfied this complaint. They're off your back.
So you're doing that just because, look, there's so many other fish in the sea.
Sure.
I mean, if somebody complains, just get rid of them.
I mean, you can operate doing this in the United States as long as you take care of your complaints. That's the number one thing, is handle your complaints. Somebody writes to you, they complain, you take care of them. Send them their money back, whatever you got to do. You don't want them to complain to the next guy. They complain to you first. You solve it before they complain to the Better Business Bureau or the Attorney General or somebody else that's going to cause you more grief.
Yeah.
That's the number one key, is to anybody that specifically says they want off the mailing list, you take them off.
Except that it only takes them off your mailing list.
That's
It
correct.
doesn't take them off the.
Yeah, it takes them off, that takes the heat off of you. Who cares about the other guy?
Yeah. Huh.
Did you ever feel touched or upset or guilty if you got one of these letters from a very elderly person with the shaky handwriting and, you know, you could tell they're kind of a lottery addict? Did you ever have remorse or hesitation about continuing to victimize that person?
Give the answer to me. That's a great question.
Actually, we didn't take anybody off our mailing list until they complained, threatened to cause trouble. We continued mailing to anybody. We answer their questions, you know, tell them what they wanted to hear.
What was the conversation? Did you ever conversations when you got that letter that Ellen was talking about, shaky handwriting? Was there ever jokes about it? Like, you know, this guy's obviously whacked or out of his mind, or, you know.
No, not really.
It was just nothing. It was just, it wasn't remorse, but it also wasn't making fun of them. It was
No,
just
it's
nothing.
just business. Take care of business.
It's just money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you personally? Did you ever feel any remorse?
Well, I personally didn't get involved with seeing these letters until I was actually doing this thing myself. And yeah, there's times that I felt kind of bad about people, and you know, I sent people their money back before.
Yeah. Okay.
But I, you know, like I said, they had to make me let it, you know, let them know they wanted out.
There's one piece that I know we've covered it before, but then we just want to double back around again, and that has to do with how easy it is to fake the legitimacy of these things. If you could just talk through a little bit about how putting pictures of winners on the letters, which is easy to do because of computers, doubled the response rate. The more seals that were on there, the more legitimate they thought, and it's really easy to do, and it was all a fake.
Okay.
You know, that kind of stuff?
Sure.
Okay.
It's very easy to make these promotions look very legitimate. You know, for instance, you can grab a picture somewhere, modify it a little, put it in your mailing promotion, have this guy say, you know, how happy he is with the winnings he just got. Another great thing to do, but you can't, it's a little harder, is you can put a embossed seal on the certificate that goes out with it. That's really a nice touch. They seem to feel it's more legitimate when they see something like that. That's a little extra effort. It is a little extra effort. It is a little more expense, but it pays off in the long run to do that.
Did you ever use names of that sounded like the government? Wasn't the government, but like this European Banking Commission thing. That kind of sounds like the government.
Yes, we always try to make our name sound legitimate. You know, European Union Commission or Lotteries Board or something like that. Yeah, you tried to do that.
But it was all made up.
Absolutely.
Just did you have like some super creative guy in the back room who was just making up stuff that sounded legitimate like this?
Yes, we did.
You did?
Yeah, when I went off on my own, I basically just took the three promotions I was the most familiar with and the simplest and easiest to run, and I just copied them. That's the material I used. I never did anything creative with them. I just used the old ones that I was familiar with that I knew worked. And a lot of the more complicated ones I just didn't even use.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a little thing that says Member International Pension Fund Audit Bureau. I know this isn't your
another-
mailing, but this would be like a little
Yeah, I'm gonna make.
seal.
I'm hoping I can make some copies of those when we get
Okay.
this use of seals and government. That's all just to make it look.
Yes, yeah, of course. And you know, they even come up with a, this lottery is approved by the Lottery Board of Great Britain or something like that. It's just all made up.
Bruce, you have any questions?
I just have one or two. Do you have any in mind? I was just running along the subject that we just talked about. Are there any words or phrases or symbols that were the most successful? Was there anything you always tried to get in, or anything you found worked?
Yeah, I can tell you one
If
that's
you could talk about it.
I can tell you one that's real popular. It's picture yourself, and show somebody with a camera looking at you. Picture yourself, and show yourself in a little picture. Picture yourself with this winning in a bag of money. Hold a little bag of money with the dollar signs on it, like out of a Uncle Scrooge cartoon or something. That seems to be a pretty popular logo type thing to use.
So it was a picture of somebody else holding a bag of money, and it says, "Picture you in this picture."
Picture yourself, yeah. Picture yourself. That's a real catchy phrase. Picture yourself. Like there's one of them. I don't know where it is right off, but it's an El Gordo pitch, where they show how there's different drawings working your way up to the El Gordo, and it starts out with the guy with a little bag of money. Then the next pitch has got a bigger bag of money, and it keeps getting bigger as it goes along. That was a pretty effective little mailing piece too.
How long does it take for them to mail in these things? Do most people get it, fill it? If they're going to fill it out, do they fill it out right away?
Yeah.
They do.
Now you can mail something out, and your response will peak in 10 days after you mail it. It'll start coming back. 3 or 4 days later, and you get the majority of it in 1 week after you start getting it back in.
Did you ever use deadlines?
Oh yeah.
Talk about deadlines a little bit.
Well, yeah, we put deadlines on it to try and get people to rush their money in, their entries in. But as long as they were in time to be played, we didn't pay any attention to the deadline.
So it was a false deadline.
It was a false deadline, unless you actually closed it down. For instance, the El Gordo was really based on the El Gordo that was run in Spain. So if they didn't have their entry into us in time for it to have been in time before the El Gordo went down, we'd have to send it back to them.
So a lot of the seniors say, I've actually been in the homes of people where they said, I can only talk to you for a couple minutes because I got to get this in today because there's a deadline.
Yeah. The deadline didn't mean anything. They could have mailed that next week.
And you would have still taken it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last one. Was there any emotional hot button you tried to push? Was it all just about winning money, or was there anything else that you used to appeal to people?
I can't think of any emotional hot button type thing, but it was mostly just the big prize, how easy it is to win. We're going to help you. We're good at this. This is our business. You know what we're doing.
How hard is it to start a business, a fake lottery direct mail operation?
It's very easy. You just got to have what you're going to mail to. You got to have a list to mail to, and what most people do is they just copy somebody else and change it around a little bit. Get somebody else's lottery material and change it around a little bit.
What's this? Oh, these are the money bags right here. Great. Then you'd mail this one out?
Like for instance, the way I started mine is I just copied what the promotions that I was using for other people when I was doing their work for them.
Dennis, when you think about all the direct mail lottery scams that you were involved in, and I'm hoping you can include my question in your answer, was there ever anyone who won?
No, nobody ever won, other than there was a thing called the New York Super 7, where it was promoted by taking the daily 4-number drawing and the daily 3-number drawing and putting them together to give you 7-digit numbers. And the $100 checks were paid to those people, but anybody that won over $1,000 or more, some numbers were manipulated to keep them from actually winning.
So with that one exception, can I get you to say, and only if it's true, that of all the direct thousands of mailings that I sent out, nobody ever really won the $1 million?
Yeah, I've been involved in the direct mail business for, my God, over 30 years. And I've been working specifically with lotteries for the last 15 years, and I do not know of anybody that actually won.
And that's thousands of people playing.
Oh, thousands of people. Can I take you off in another direction here too?
Yeah, sure.
Where these people will take off a lot is once they got a lottery guy that's good, they will start in with other things like the pension plan that we talked about earlier to hook them in, and then they come up with a loan program. This is something I was always against that other people were doing. And they would tell these people, I mean, this goes into the Ponzi scheme. They tell these people that we're going to give you 2% a month on the money you invest. And the reason that they're going for outside money is to cover big winners that they might have. So they're looking for people to invest, and that's why they can pay this big interest rate. They pay 2% a month. And you can invest anywhere from $500 to $50,000. Most people would come in, they'd put like $500 in, they'd sit there and they'd hit them with their interest checks real regularly, and they'd kind of test it. They'd come back with $2,000 or $3,000. And they had people that actually mortgaged their houses to send in $50,000. I remember seeing one guy in this thing that put in, he was cheating. He was sneaking in by using his other family members to get more money into the system. And eventually, you know, just like all Ponzi schemes, it explodes. They get a letter, gee, I'm sorry to tell you, but your fund was hit. Somebody won the lottery on the fund that you were supporting, and you know, you've lost all your money.
So what is the reason why I joined this thing?
For the high interest rate.
Yeah, but what's the explanation for it? It's like what's the plausibility of how can you pay me 2% a month?
Well, that's where they come up with the reason that this has to do with insuring lotteries against a big winner. You know, to tell you the truth, I never even read the promos, but I know the psychology of it from hearing about it, talking to the people.
What was the name of that company?
I think that was German Swiss, if I'm not mistaken. It was a German Swiss. I'm pretty sure it was German Swiss. I could be wrong, but I believe that was it.
So I'm loaning you $500, $50,000, $5,000. You'll pay me. When do you pay me off?
Every month. Every month you send them $200, or every month you send them their 2%. Like if they sent you $500.
But when do I get my principal back?
When you ask for it, but you never will. I mean, unless it's a small principal.
Oh. So you can keep it in there as long as you want, or take it out anytime you want. They say
that's what you tell them, but try and take it out. That's when you get stalls and you'll get checks that'll bounce and all kinds of things.
Yeah. So this is just another way to reload people who are playing the lottery.
This is a way to hit them big. You got somebody that's got the money. This is a way to clean out their bank accounts or get them to sell their property or whatever. Because they're greedy. You know, they know that the U.S. bank is going to give them 5% a year, and here this guy's offering 24%. You know, they take the money out of their savings accounts, they mortgage their houses, everything else.
What would you tell people who get these mailers about whether they should play, given everything you know about it?
Don't play anything that you get in direct mail.
Nothing?
Don't send money for anything in direct mail. It's direct mail's been known to be full of gray areas and everything else for as long as I've been dealing in it. I started dealing with it in 1972. I don't know of anybody that's ever got a better deal out of something in the direct mail than they would have got somewhere else.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was extremely good.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate your help.